In today's gospel, Christ says, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified." How do you define hour? What does it mean? In the next statement, it talks about the hour being associated with, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains just a grain of wheat. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. The hour has to do something with suffering and death, dying, and rising again to produce much fruit. Now, this is some kind of transformation. Transformation can be defined as losing the ground on which one is standing to be lifted up on a higher ground where one is more fully alive. That's transformation. Suffering can be transformative, or we can transmit suffering to others. If we deny suffering in our life, if we disguise it, often what we do is we unload it to other people. We transmit it to others. All the hurts and the disappointments, the abandonments, and the betrayals in life can pile up. And unless we find some meaning in them, then we try to just pass them on to other people and take our tragedy and our hurts and somehow take it on others. But we don't have to do that. We can embrace our suffering. We can hold on to it in a way. And in doing so, we do not transmit the pain to others. But we have to find some meaning in life to do that. Meaning in suffering. If we do not find meaning in suffering, then we just transmit it to other people in life. The world, in a way, has been a history of people taking their pain, their suffering, and then taking it out on others, causing so much problems. They do not transform their pain into something meaningful. The way to do that is to make it sacred, somehow to find God in our suffering. Jesus is not distant from us. Jesus is in our suffering, with us and for us. And when we realize that, our suffering can be transformative. Mary stood at the foot of the cross, standing there. She was united with her Son. She held the pain in herself. She did not accuse others, all those who accused her Son. She did not direct the pain towards them. She was united with her divine Son in redeeming the world and saving the world. How important it is for us to be with Mary. We know that after he died, they placed him in her arms. She held him there, held the pain of the suffering. She did that so that a resurrection would occur and her pain would then be taken away. Suffering, in a way, is the one thing that can disabilize our imperial ego. Our imperial ego likes to control pain. It likes to explain it away. It likes somehow to transmit it to others. But that's the false ego, the imperial ego. And suffering can destabilize that so that our true self emerges. The self that can hold the pain, find meaning in it, and be identified with Christ and the cross. And in that we become collaborators with him in redeeming the world. Contemplation of the cross somehow breaks down our dualistic thinking. Our dualistic thinking divides good from bad in such a way that is erroneous at times, because some things that we think are good are bad, and some things we think are bad are good. It is the true ego that has been transformed that begins to understand that dualistic thinking leads us to a division between ourselves and others, and fail to realize that we all can be transformed in our suffering, in the burden of our brokenness and sin. All that can be transformed if we unite it all with Christ on the cross for the redemption of the world. The image of Christ on the cross is really the image of transforming suffering. What a beautiful thing it is. The cross can teach us humility, patience, and compassion for other people. Yes, in a way, the only sign that Christ is going to give us is the sign of Jonah, where we are thrown into the belly of the whale, where we cannot control anything, we cannot explain anything away, until Christ saves us from the belly of the whale to give us new life. God is in our pain, and when we realize that He's there, the true self develops. God in ourselves and we in God. How powerful that can be. Yes, we have a choice. Our pain can be transformative, or it can be transmitted to others and be taken out on others. And of course, the way of the cross that we're going to contemplate next week during Holy Week helps us to transform pain in our lives.